Well, it's a rather odd story. When I was 3 years old, I fell downstairs and, of course, knocked unconscious. My parents fetched the doctor, who examined me very carefully and said I was dead. And as I was the one and only, and the apple of my mother's eye, I mean, she went off the deep end and everybody was fussing around her. And I was left in my room lying on the bed. And then the doctor said he'd return in an hour with a nurse to wash the body and the death certificate, which he did. When he came back with the nurse and went into my room, the dead body was sitting on the bed playing, nothing the matter.
The dead body was you?
Yes. And the doctor apparently was rather annoyed with me. My father was also very annoyed with the doctor. Why did he give them such a scare? The doctor swore that he knew I was dead. I mean, he'd done everything, every test, and I was dead, and that was the end of it. However, there was no visible injuries or anything, but after that, I kept crying and saying I want to go home. And of course, I was assured that I was at home, and I was equally sure that I was not. And I started dreaming about this temple here in Abydos.
Abydos, or Abydos, is 350 miles south of Cairo, in the heart of a region where the ancient Egyptian religion once flourished, and it's always possessed a strange magnetic attraction. People came here as pilgrims over many centuries. The temple was built by one of the greatest of the Egyptian pharaohs, King Seti I, who ruled Egypt around 1300 BC. It was completed by his son, Ramses II.
I dreamt about it not as a ruin, but as a going concern. Well, it wasn't until I was about 6, and I saw a photograph of this temple in a magazine, but of course, as it is, now ruined. Once I recognised this place. This was the place where I was dreaming of, and it was my home. Also, a photo of the mummy of King Seti. I knew that man. He's a nice man, good, kind man. Of course, I was assured that I never did know him. And of course, when my father explained to me about what the temple was and where it was, well, that explained to me why I wanted to go there and wasn't able to, because it wasn't where I am, or I wasn't where it was.
How did you explain this to yourself?
I didn't. I mean, to me, that I belonged there and I had to go there. And all my life, I would never say, if I go to Egypt. It was always when I go to Egypt.
When did you first go to the British Museum?
Oh, I went to the museum first of all when I was 4. But Mother said I wasn't taking any notice of anything till I got to the Egyptian department. And then I just went crazy. I went and sat down by a mummy in its glass case. When they were ready to leave and called me to come, I refused to come. So Mother came to pick me up. And she said, I yelled out, and in a very unusual voice, I said, leave me, these are my people. You see, I haven't got a degree from a university. Therefore, I couldn't be, among the high-class officials. So I was taken on as skilled workman.
What did that mean?
Well, it means not somebody who just digs and hauls stone about, though I have done that. But it means somebody with a special skill.
What was your feeling when you first came here?
Well, I felt, first of all, I'd really come home. And again, that, I'd come to my holy place.
It's the memorial of King Seti that most tourists come to see, but this was sacred ground long before the temple was built. Dr. Rosalie David is Keeper of Egyptology at the Manchester Museum and knows both Abydos and Om Seti well.
Dr. Rosalie.
Oh, hello!
Good. Have you been able to go across to the temple at all?
Not yet, but I mean I can go.
Yes, yes.
I've been practicing by walking
Oh,
as far as
marvellous.
the road.
Well, we have a magazine for you, which you'd probably like to see.
Oh, thanks. I haven't seen one since June.
Oh, golly. Have you still got the cats? Are they here?
I had some. I had 7, known as a mafia. Gently dust.
Rosalie David wrote her doctoral thesis on the painted scenes in the Temple of Seti I, which so vividly portray the religious rites of ancient Egypt.
You did a jolly good work on the rites.
You think it's... I enjoyed doing it so much. It was fun.
You know that Indian ambassador, Dr. Apapant? He came here quite a lot when he was ambassador here.
Yes.
And he was very interested in the rites because they do it now in India.
Yes, I gather they're pretty much the same sort of pattern.
Yes.
Feeding the god.
And he said, I mean, in their family, they're high up Brahmins, I suppose, they have these little shrines in the home.
Yes.
And the head of the household performs all these rites every day.
And it takes the same pattern as
Yes.
the ritual.
He kept me supplied with incense when he was here. You know that lovely
You used to
sticking-
use incense in the temple here, in the rites.
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes,
Well, they use it all the time.
yes. Did you carry out rituals on the festival of Osiris?
But it was a very complex world, this world of ancient Egypt, with its multitude of gods, both in animal and human guise, and its elaborate rituals and ceremonies.
When you first walked inside the temple, what happened?
Well, I mean, it was as if I walked into a place where I had lived before and knew all about it. And somebody from head office was here at the time, and they knew about my idea that I'd been here. And they...
Recognize anybody from the reliefs?
Oh, Seti. The King Seti. I had an idea that I had known him. He was always my hero. I was always hoping that if I ever married, I'd marry someone like him, but of course I never did find anybody like that. They don't make them these days. And also, there was that feeling I've had at the beginning and always have had and can't get rid of, the idea that Ramses was a young boy, a young teenager, kid about 14 or 15, older than he is in the reliefs, but still a youngster, and very active and energetic and rather noisy, but quite amiable. And the father is always, to me, a rather grave, rather serious, but very kind and gentle man.
But how does Om Seti explain her strange insights into an earlier existence?
Well, I wonder, either the fall downstairs not to screw loose, and yet everything was so, what shall I say, logical after that. I mean, the obsession. I mean, if I had a screw loose, I might dream about a temple, but not that one particular temple and dream about it correctly. And then some people have suggested I might really have been dead and an ancient spirit got in.
What do you think?
I think probably that might be. It's just simply, I was in a place which I knew very well, no difficulty in getting them. And of course, I mean, working here and living here, well, I suppose I became so familiar. I would say, if God ever preserve it from happening, if the temple fell down, I think I could tell them where all the stones go to put it back again.